The profession of farming has one of the highest risks of on-the-job injury and death. Roy Vust of Portage-la Prairie, Manitoba, knows all too well how quickly and easily a serious farm accident can happen.
It was July 30, 2001. I left and went mowing ditches and probably was working at it for about an hour when I was going up an incline and decided to stop, which I had to do. I remember putting my foot on the clutch. It must have slipped off because the tractor reared over backwards and sort of pinned me between the mower, which I was pulling behind, and the tractor. Then a fire started. The tractor, of course, had the fuel tank ahead of me and it was spilling, and I really don't remember how I got out. I sort of stumbled, fell to the ground, ran away from the tractor a ways, and then realized I was still very hot, looked down, and my clothes, which were soaked, were still burning. So I dropped and rolled around in the grass and the ground, and eventually that fire did go out.
How many of these do you want?
Okay. Well, a neighbor came to the door and told me that he'd been in an accident, and you know, you think accidents happen to other people, you're not really prepared when they happen to you. So it was kind of a shock.
It was determined about 50% of my body was burned, second, third degree burns, and that puts you in critical condition.
I wasn't really prepared for what I seen when I got to the hospital. The skin was all off his hands, and I was quite, you know, taken back at how badly he had been burned.
Is that good?
For Roy and his family, the long road to recovery began with 3 weeks in intensive care.
Basically, once they get all your skin grafts on, they bandage you up, and those were changed just about daily. And they would come in and monitor my heart rate and my blood pressure, apparently, and when it got so high, they would just stop and let me rest for a couple hours and then come back and carry on changing. But that's how they determined how much I could tolerate. I remember when they first got me out of bed in the hospital, it was amazing how poor my coordination was and how weak I was. You know, just a little bit of activity would just tucker you right out. Financially, July 30th, as you can imagine here, it's just before harvest. It's not a good time to go to the hospital. I missed that harvest season completely. By next spring, I was well enough that I was out and about and back at the farm. Still probably not at full strength because it does zap an awful lot of strength out of you. I'm basically able to do most of the things I could, and very fortunate that way that I'm still physically able to do those things. We did cut back a little bit on the size of our farm, just decided that there are other priorities and we want to enjoy life together a little bit more. You have to admit after you get that close to death that you are just mortal and you do not take the chances you used to. So, you know, let's learn from this experience and not go through it again. Not me or anyone else.
For more information on farm safety, visit www.cfa-fca.ca. And remember, farm safety means farm safely.